Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to say might shake you. Some of you are so busy watching other people live their lives that you've completely abandoned your own. You scroll, you compare, you gossip, you chase shadows, and yet your own destiny is waiting neglected. You're watering other people's gardens while your own soil is drying up. You celebrate their growth while your seed lies buried, unseen, unrealized. And you wonder why you feel empty. It's because you've traded purpose for distraction. God didn't put you on this earth to be a spectator in someone else's movie. He gave you a script, a purpose, a mission. But you're too occupied watching reruns of other people's success to write your own story. Hear me. The greatest tragedy in life is not death. It's life without purpose, time without focus, potential without direction. Every second you waste chasing approval, every moment you spend comparing your path to another's, is a piece of your destiny you'll never get back. Stop giving your energy to things that don't grow you. Stop allowing people who have no vision for your life to become your distraction. It's time to turn your gaze inward, because everything God wants to do, He wants to do through you. Listen, one of the greatest mistakes people make in life is spending their energy watching someone else build theirs. You can't master your destiny while you're busy watching someone else's journey. Every time you compare your progress to another person's timeline, you rob yourself of focus, power, and peace. You're like a runner in a race who keeps looking sideways and wondering why you keep stumbling. You can't win your lane when your eyes are fixed on somebody else's. So many people today are experts at observing, analyzing, and envying, but not at becoming. They study other people's success stories like fans in the stands, cheering, criticizing, or copying, while their own dreams collect dust. The truth is, you cannot grow while your attention is divided. You cannot build while your focus is borrowed. Every time you look at someone else's highlight reel and feel small, you waste another moment that could have been used to build your own masterpiece. Comparison is poison. It makes you chase things that were never meant for you. You start dressing like others, talking like others, working toward goals that don't even belong to you, all because you've lost sight of your own path. You forget that what works for them may not work for you. You forget that every journey has its own time, its own process, its own struggles hidden behind the smiles. You forget that you're not behind. You're just different. When you spend your time watching others, you unconsciously shrink. You start to measure your worth by what others have achieved. You stop asking, what can I create? And start asking, how can I catch up? That's how you lose your authenticity, the very thing that makes you powerful. Because while you're trying to fit into someone else's mold, you forget that your strength lies in your uniqueness. There is nothing more tragic than having potential but no focus. Potential without direction is like fire without containment. It burns everything around it but produces no warmth. You can have all the talent in the world, but if your attention is scattered across everyone else's accomplishments, you'll never refine it into greatness. Mastery demands isolation. Growth demands focus. You cannot plant a seed today, walk away to admire someone else's garden, and expect yours to bloom when you return. The truth is, the people you admire, the ones you scroll through endlessly, the ones you study and compare yourself to, they're not watching you. They're too focused on becoming. They're too busy working, failing, learning, rising. That's why they're ahead. Not because they're better than you, but because their attention is anchored. They've learned that every minute spent observing another person's path is a minute stolen from perfecting their own. Imagine what would happen if all that energy you use to watch others, all that attention, all that mental space was redirected into your own growth. Imagine if you woke up each day determined to compete only with the person you were yesterday. Imagine how powerful, how unstoppable you could become if you decided that your only comparison is your own progress. You can't master your destiny while your eyes are on someone else's success. You can't build your dream house while you're busy admiring the architecture across the street. Greatness is not found in watching. It's found in doing. It's found in the quiet hours of work no one sees, in the courage to stay consistent when no one claps, in the discipline to focus when distractions are loud. So stop watching, stop comparing. Your energy is sacred, guard it fiercely. Because the moment you take your eyes off someone else's path and fix them on your own, your journey begins to accelerate. Your steps become clearer, your confidence grows stronger, and your life, finally, begins to move in the direction of your true destiny. Distraction is the silent killer of purpose. It doesn't roar like failure or shout like fear. It whispers. It sneaks in quietly, disguised as harmless entertainment, endless scrolling, constant notifications, and meaningless conversations. It slowly steals your focus, your drive, your clarity, until one day you wake up realizing you've been busy but not productive, moving but not progressing, awake but not alive. Distraction doesn't always look dangerous. Sometimes it looks comfortable. It feels like just 5 more minutes on your phone, just one more episode, just one more check of what everyone else is doing. But behind that comfort lies a trap, the slow death of your potential. Because every moment you give to distraction, you take away from your purpose. Every small interruption, every scattered focus, chips away at your ability to create something meaningful. You can't build a powerful life with a distracted mind. You can't climb a mountain while stopping every few steps to admire the view from someone else's peak. Purpose requires precision. It requires silence, space, and sacrifice. You have to train your mind to say no, not because you don't care, but because you do. You care about your time, your growth, your goals, your vision. You can't afford to give your attention to everything, because not everything deserves your attention. The most dangerous distractions are not the obvious ones. They're the ones that look like progress. You convince yourself you're researching, networking, staying updated. But deep down, you know you're escaping the hard work of focus. You scroll through other people's accomplishments for motivation, but what you're really doing is feeding your mind with noise that drowns out your own voice. You think you're inspired, but you're actually distracted. Distraction doesn't just take your time, it drains your energy. It scatters your thoughts, dilutes your drive, and weakens your discipline. You start 10 things but finish none. You move constantly but accomplish little. And the saddest part, you start mistaking motion for progress. But motion without direction is just movement, not achievement. You have to learn the art of guarding your attention like treasure, because it is. Your attention determines your direction. Wherever your attention goes, your life follows. If your focus is on noise, your life becomes chaotic. If your focus is on purpose, your life becomes powerful. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your focus with every day? What are you allowing to interrupt your momentum, your flow, your growth? Some people fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack concentration. They let distractions dictate their destiny. They're constantly pulled between what matters and what doesn't. But here's the truth: the world doesn't reward distraction, it rewards discipline. The people who rise above are not the ones who have more talent. They're the ones who've learned to protect their focus from everything that doesn't serve their future. Every notification you don't check, every conversation you avoid, every temptation you resist, that's you taking your power back. That's you saying, my purpose is more important than my pleasure. And that single decision, repeated daily, is what separates the dreamers from the doors. Because purpose is built in focus. In the quiet hours when no one's watching, when the world is noisy, but you remain centered on your vision. You can't live an extraordinary life with ordinary focus. You can't do great things while being constantly distracted by small ones. Your destiny demands your full attention, not fragments of it scattered across meaningless things. So silence the noise, turn off the distractions, and reconnect with what truly matters. Because the moment you learn to control your focus, you begin to control your future. Every minute unfocused is potential unused. Every second you drift, every moment your mind wanders aimlessly, is a piece of your future slipping quietly out of your hands. You might not feel it immediately. That's what makes it dangerous. Unused potential doesn't explode, it evaporates. Slowly, silently, until one day, you look back and realize how much time you've traded for nothing. Focus is the currency of greatness. It's what turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. The difference between people who dream and people who achieve isn't talent. It's concentration. It's the ability to stay locked in when the world keeps calling you away. It's choosing direction over distraction, discipline over delay, and purpose over pleasure. So many people waste years waiting for the right time, not realizing that every day they lose focus, they lose ground. You don't get to pause life while you figure things out. Time doesn't wait for clarity, it moves on. The clock doesn't care if you're confused, distracted, or tired. It keeps ticking. And the harsh truth is, the world rewards those who use their minutes wisely. Because the future doesn't belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most focused. Your focus decides your future. If your mind is scattered, your results will always be small. You can't live a sharp life with a dull focus. You can't build something lasting when your attention is divided among 1,000 things that don't matter. Every unfocused minute is like watering the ground, but never planting a seed. Effort without intention produces nothing. Think about it. How many times have you started something full of passion only to lose interest halfway through? How many ideas have you abandoned because you let distractions steal your momentum? You had the spark, the vision, the potential, but not the focus to finish. And in the end, potential without follow-through is just wasted energy. Focus is what refines your energy into power. It's what takes the scattered pieces of your attention and molds them into progress. When you focus, everything aligns. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop being busy and start being effective. Because real progress isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with full intention. You can't afford to let your focus leak into meaningless things. Every time you lose concentration, you lose momentum. Every time you lose momentum, you lose motivation. And when motivation dies, progress dies with it. That's how dreams fade, not with failure, but with distraction. You lose them one unfocused minute at a time. If you want to become unstoppable, learn the discipline of focus. Guard your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. The quality of your life will always mirror the quality of your focus. When your mind is clear, your direction is clear. When your attention is sharp, your actions are strong. When your focus is consistent, your results are unstoppable. There will always be noise. There will always be temptations, doubts, and detours. But you must train yourself to return to your purpose again and again. Because mastery isn't about never getting distracted. It's about always coming back to what matters most. Focus isn't a gift. It's a decision. And every day you decide to give your full attention to your growth, you take back another piece of your potential. So, stop letting your minutes slip into the hands of distraction. Stop giving your energy to things that don't build you. Every moment you focus, you invest in your future. Every second you stay disciplined, you honor your potential. Because time doesn't slow down for anyone. But when you focus, you make every second count. God never created you to be a copy. He designed you to be an original. You were not born to imitate. You were born to innovate. The moment you start trying to become someone else, you abandon the power that makes you irreplaceable. You lose the flavor of your uniqueness, the fire of your individuality, the brilliance of what only you can bring to this world. You were designed with precision, your mind, your voice, your ideas, your perspective, all tailored for a purpose no one else can fulfill. The tragedy is that too many people spend their lives trying to fit into molds they were never shaped for. They chase trends instead of truth. They mimic voices instead of finding their own. They follow paths that look safe instead of building roads that lead to significance. But imitation may bring temporary acceptance. It will never bring lasting fulfillment. Because deep down, you'll always feel the emptiness of living someone else's version of your life. You can't lead by following. You can't stand out by blending in. You can't make an impact by repeating what's already been done. True success doesn't come from replication. It comes from revelation, from discovering what's already inside of you and bringing it to life. The world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the full expression of you. The truth is, you cannot copy greatness. You must become it. The people you admire didn't rise because they copied others. They rose because they dared to be different. They honored their originality even when it was misunderstood. They stayed true to their vision even when it wasn't celebrated. They understood that their difference was not their weakness. It was their strength. And that's the secret. Your difference is your advantage. When you stop trying to mirror others, you begin to uncover your true design. You stop asking, how can I be like them? And start asking, what was I born to bring? That's when creativity flows, ideas come alive, and confidence takes root. You start realizing that authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to truth, not imitation. Your uniqueness is what gives you value. It's what makes your contribution to the world necessary. But here's the danger. Every time you compare yourself, you weaken your originality. Every time you doubt your difference, you silence your potential. You begin to conform, not because you lack talent, but because you lack belief in your own design. You start adjusting your light to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain you. But you were not made to fit. You were made to expand. There's a certain kind of peace that comes when you finally decide to be yourself fully, unapologetically, and consistently. When you stop editing your personality to please others. When you stop shrinking your dreams to make people comfortable. When you stop apologizing for being different and start celebrating it. That's the moment your power awakens. Because nothing is more powerful than a person who has accepted their identity and decided to live it out with conviction. You don't have to prove your worth by imitation. You prove it through authenticity. You don't have to compete for validation. You stand out by being real. The world rewards originality because it's rare. And when you embrace yours, you become unforgettable. You become the reference point others look to, not the echo lost in the crowd. So stop chasing trends and start building truth. Stop following noise and start creating impact. The greatest thing you can ever do is master the art of being you. Fully focused, fully authentic, fully alive. Because the moment you choose authenticity over imitation, your journey transforms from ordinary to extraordinary. When you focus on yourself, heaven focuses on you. The moment you shift your attention inward toward growth, discipline, and purpose, everything around you begins to align. Life starts responding differently when you take responsibility for your own development. You stop chasing validation and opportunities start chasing you. You stop begging for doors to open and doors begin to recognize your preparation. Because the truth is, the world mirrors your focus. Whatever you give attention to expands. And when you give attention to yourself, your potential expands beyond what you ever imagined. Most people live distracted by everything except themselves. They know what everyone else is doing, wearing, buying, achieving, but they barely know who they are, what they want, or where they're going. They invest in watching others grow, but neglect the one person they were actually sent here to develop themselves. But your life will never rise higher than your level of personal investment. Until you become your own priority, your purpose will always remain secondary. Focusing on yourself is not selfish, it's strategic. It's about pouring into the vessel that everything else flows from. You can't pour strength into others from an empty spirit. You can't inspire if you're drained. You can't lead if you're lost. The stronger you become within, the greater your impact becomes without. Your influence begins where your focus begins. And if your focus is scattered, your influence will always be limited. Every great achievement begins with self-awareness. When you take time to look inward, not at what others think of you, but at who you truly are, you start seeing clearly where your power lies. You begin to recognize your strengths, confront your weaknesses, and refine your mindset. That's how transformation begins, not through comparison, but through reflection. You stop waiting for motivation to find you because you've learned how to build it from within. Focusing on yourself means doing the hard work no one applauds, waking up early to grow, saying no to distractions, staying disciplined when it's easier to drift. It means setting boundaries, protecting your peace, and surrounding yourself with people who challenge your evolution, not those who drain your direction. It means understanding that success is not found in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows of consistency. And when you start living this way, something powerful happens. Your environment begins to shift. People begin to treat you differently because your energy changes. Your standards rise. Your vision sharpens. You start attracting what aligns with your growth and repelling what wastes your time. Because focus creates clarity, and clarity attracts purpose. The more you grow, the less you tolerate distractions disguised as opportunities. When you truly focus on yourself, you stop needing validation because progress becomes your proof. You stop explaining your decisions to those who can't see your vision. You stop seeking applause because you found alignment. Growth becomes its own reward. That's when life begins to elevate you naturally, not through luck, but through alignment with your own potential. Everything in life is a reflection. If you focus on negativity, you attract confusion. If you focus on progress, you attract momentum. If you focus on purpose, you attract direction. The law is simply what you focus on will always multiply. So if you want to experience transformation, don't start by changing your environment. Start by changing your focus. You are your greatest project. You are your most valuable investment. Everything you want to experience begins with what you choose to give attention to. The moment you turn that attention inward, toward your discipline, your vision, your growth begins to respond with open doors, new strength, and divine alignment. Because when you focus on yourself, the universe rearranges itself to meet the person you are becoming. Listen, life will always give you 1,000 chances to get distracted, to compare, to settle. But you were never created to blend in with the noise. You were born to rise, to build, to become. Every second from this moment on is a choice. Either you drift with the crowd, or you focus and design your destiny. Stop waiting for the right time. This is the right time. Stop waiting for approval. You already have what it takes. The moment you choose to focus on yourself, everything changes. Your confidence strengthens, your vision clears, and your steps align with purpose. Because power doesn't come from wishing. It comes from working, refining, and staying locked in on your mission no matter who's watching. You've got one life, one shot, one story to write. Don't let it be a copy of someone else's chapter. Make it your masterpiece. Guard your focus. Protect your energy. Feed your growth. Because once your mind becomes unshakable, your future becomes unstoppable. So stand tall, take ownership of your time, and start moving with intention. The world doesn't need another distracted dreamer. It needs a focused doer. The next chapter of your life begins the moment you decide to focus completely on becoming the person you were meant to be. Good luck, and thank you for listening. Now go out there and make your life a living example of what focus can do.